I think we're good to start. Okay, hello, everybody. How are you guys today?
Wonderful.
I think you already have a small idea what we're gonna be doing here. And we're kind of excited about it ourselves because it's really been a learning experience for us. Let's get started first with a couple of questions. Okay, each of you. We're gonna go around the room. Give your name. Okay. Answer this question. Have you ever been at a bead shop? And if you have two words that describe your experience. Okay, name describing your experience in a bead shop and answer with yes or no. Have you ever used prayer beads before? Can everybody online see the prayer beads? Okay, that's what you will follow with today. Everybody here, pick your beads. Oh, because that's the point of prayer beads. There's something in your hand. Okay, become familiar with it. How you hold it at this point is not important, but we'll get to that a little more shortly. Hold them in your way. Because now prayer is actually using your hands in active participation. This is not just in your hand, not just in your throat, but it's a tax in your hands. These beads are modern in every way compared to the kinds of beads that mankind has used for millennia. Okay, these are shaped, they're polished, beads are many materials, made of many materials, always have been. Bone and stone, and wood and teeth, and on, coral, okay, many different things. These are decorative, they're on stretchable band. We haven't joined yours, we didn't know your wrist size. You can always do that yourself and try to put it on, roll it over your hand to gently stretch it. Or you can use it as a string because beads, in particular prayer beads, over time have been in both forms. Okay, look at these as a fidget with a purpose. A fidget with a purpose. So let's get a little perspective on this game. Over time, man has principally used beads for two things: decoration and trade. Now, prayer is another use of these beads in this form that we're going to talk about. Bear in mind, these have been used by man 100,000 years ago, archaeologically. Beads can be demonstrated in the hands of mankind. Beads in some form. Okay. Jump ahead a few years to about the 3rd and 5th centuries AD. The old desert fathers, these were early and mothers, thank you. Christian hermits, kind of like monks, they used pebbles principally out of a pouch or knotted ropes to count their prayers, count their recitations, repetitions, and the like. Okay, we're not yet at the form of prayer bead or the rosary, which we talk about, but a typical prayer given back then, don't ask me how that was documented, was a simple Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Jump ahead a few more years to the 8th century. Pater Noster chords. Pater Noster, our Father. Pater Noster, our in the Latin. These were used, typically strings of 150 beads, used to count recitations of the 150 Psalms. For the illiterate, and that would describe most people back then, okay? Who didn't have the capacity to memorize the Psalms, much less read them. They would do 150 repetitions of the Lord's Prayer, of its time through their fingers. Jump ahead a few more years, about 1100 AD, in the time of early English, not Middle English or modern English of today, but in the early English language, the word bead, B-E-D-E, which was pronounced bead, means a prayer from early English. 1613, now we're on the threshold of today. The earliest really documented string resembling prayer beads. And for that intended purpose has been well documented. And sometime thereafter came into being what was called the Anglican Rosary. Apparently the Catholic Church had been using a rosary for some time, but the Anglican Rosary followed. Typically a string or very slip of 33 beads, each bead representing 1 year of Christ's life, and saying your prayers and recitations 3 times through was done in observance of the Trinity, the Trinitarian God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So why? Why?
So I guess the why comes probably stemmed from me and the interest, and of course I got him to thinking about it too, but years ago, I had one of my, when I worked in the clinic, I had one of the patients, who I know very well. He had gone on the Mecca pilgrimage of the Muslims do in Saudi Arabia. And I was deeply touched that this was a monumental moment for him. And he came back and he had prayer beads that he had wanted to get from me. And so I did use those for a while, but I was deeply moved by them. But interested in that. Okay, so I have this man, this Muslim giving me prayer beads, and I don't use prayer beads, and I've seen my Catholic friends use rosaries. So is it a Lutheran thing or not? It's used by many, beads are used by many faiths and religions. They use them for the prayers, chants, different mantras. They're used in meditation practices, as a calming and stress relief. Cliff mentioned a fidget with a purpose. Fidgets can be calming for those who need them. And so they're used for the stress relief. Prayer and meditation often go together. If anybody's been through the 12-step program, you talk about prayer and meditation, they come together. It's been said that prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you listen. I don't know who to say that quote is from.
You, good words.
I'd love to say it was from me, but I was smart enough to come up with it, but not so. But in kind of just doing a little bit of research about this and thinking about prayer beads a little bit more and wondering, is it a Lutheran thing or isn't it? I didn't really know about this. So the article that I looked up, kind of did some research. I found an article in Living Lutheran, which is put out by the ELC. And it was an article titled Learning to Pray with Prayer Beads. And this was written by Pastor Ben Unseth, who's a pastor in, I believe now Spencer, Iowa. The church that he's pastors, Faith Lutheran Church. So I'm just going to read you a couple excerpts from the article, which I thought were very interesting. He says, when I pray, my mind wanders everywhere. I think we can probably all maybe relate to that. Prayer, however, is spiritual. Tools are unnecessary, even suspect. I had an idea, but it did not feel right. Prayer beads. Prayer beads are rosaries. Rosaries are Roman Catholic. Rosaries emphasize the veneration of Mary. I thought and prayed and dared myself to color outside of my lines. Getting prayer out of my head and into my fingers with prayer beads has expanded praying into a holistic experience. The prayer beads have also helped my wandering mind. Rather than ricocheting from thought to past event to future event to lyric, the beads gave me a path. Because some of the beads correlate to a broad concept, I have plenty of space in my prayer cycle to talk to God about anything that comes to mind. Because many of the beads tie to something more specific, and we'll get into that. I always find a way out from my wandering.
Website called the Lutheran Rosary that goes into detail, very helpful.
Yeah, I need to check that one, so basically. This is called the beads that we ordered these online, first we could measure our wrist, so that's why ours are in a bracelet form. AKA Lutheran Rosary.
We ordered them unassembled.
You did? No.
Yes.
The
Yes.
ones that you have in front of you were assembled by us, these
These-
were not, these were
So
assembled
that's true, but these are modeled
after what we had got.
That's right, the wreath of Christ, and you'll understand that here in a few minutes.
So there's 18 beads or those pearls, whichever term you want to say, and a cross. It was developed in 1995 by a Swedish evangelical Lutheran bishop. And it was inspired, apparently, from what I've read and researched on this, that he was either on a ship or the weather was bad and they were stranded on the island. And he noticed the Greek fishermen had something in their hands. And they were worried beads, they were worried beads, they were worried about the weather, safe travel for us, may the storm pass us and so. And that inspired him to come up with this. He intended it to be as ecumenical as possible. It describes the life and the course of a life of Christ and the course of human life.
Okay. Are you holding your beads? Now, I don't care how you hold them. None of us have strict rules in holding them, but interestingly, in the Tibetan tradition, they only hold the beads in their left hand. They do this because something held in the left hand is keeping your hat. It's symbolically representing blessing and virtue. In the Hindu tradition, never in the always in the right hand, because the left hand is what? Unclean. Okay, it's unclean. Further, they never touch it with the index finger, because that's the pointing and accusing finger. So it's held in the right hand and probably between your four long fingers and handled that way. Never the index. Okay, good point of interest only. For today and for the rest of your lives, hold it your way.
There's a little tune that can go to that too.
How's that mean?
Hold it your way.
Oh, yeah.
Hold it your way?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we should have worked on, had worked on this with you here, so. So basically, you all have in front of you the instructions of how the prayer goes, the order of the prayers. When you look at your string of beads here, you're gonna see that there are some little tiny spacer beads. Those are insignificant, just what they are, spacer beads, between the significant beads. There are also 6 silence beads, we'll call them, and they're on yours, they're like a disc-shaped bone. There's, you see 6 of those there. When we get to those beads during the prayer, I'll say a few words, and then there'll be just a moment of silence. Usually what I do is when I go to my silence beads, when I pray on mine, I usually I do my, the few words that I want to say, and then I might take 3 deep breaths. When I do it, I'll take a breath for the Father, slow deep breath, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Spirit. Or you can just take a couple breaths for one cleansing breath. It's nothing set in stone, whatever how you have to do that, or set in bead. You'll also find that you have 3 consecutive white beads. They're all the same size. That's for a longer period of silence, and I'll explain the instructions on the back of that when we get there. As we progress through the beads, for the progression, after each prayer or silence observance, You'll move to the next named bead, which we will name, and as we're going through the prayer that we do together. And Cliff and I will be doing the reading, and then you just follow with your beads as we go along. So the order of the beads, you begin with the gold bead. And then you will bring that bead towards you. Work it through your fingers towards you, and then you'll end up with the cross. So you work it towards you. Online, if you're looking at the image online, when you look at that, follow along the prayers, you'll look at each bead as we're going on counterclockwise. So we'll start with the gold one, and then go to the next silence, and that's how you can follow along with the prayers with that.
So you don't just stay on the one bead. You're saying you start there and move towards the cross.
Yeah, you.
Yep, you'll move through it, and you'll understand as we go through, because we'll say which color the bead to move to. And you'll go along through.
This one, and then you're going into the other ones. It's not like you go from here to here.
Nope, we progress, we end with the cross.
Okay.
So
Can I
focusing,
go over and have a chair?
Oh, I'm just squeezing here or something.
Remove this stuff over here.
focusing on your gold bead. That'll be your first bead. And I will call out the named beads, and Sharon will do the prayer recitation. Okay.
Also, we'll give him a moment to pull his beads out.
Get the beads out, please. Do we?
I do it.
Do we do it? With your gold bead. Okay. The golden bead of God.
You are immense, you are near, you are the light, and I am yours.
Silence.
I give away my loneliness, I receive that I am yours.
The pearly ivy.
You created me as your own image. Let me see your image in myself.
The white bead of baptism.
You have invited me. In your hands, I commend my life.
Silence.
I give away my loneliness. I receive that I am yours.
The sandy desert bead.
Keep me holy, and I will be wholly kept. Heal me, and I will be healed. Draw me near yourself, and my heart will have peace. Jesus Christ, give me mercy.
Silence.
I give away my loneliness. I receive that I am yours.
The blue carefree bead.
I give away my load of worries. I receive your peace.
And silence.
I give away my loneliness. I receive that I am yours.
The red bead of God's love.
You are mine, and I am yours. Your love is everlasting.
The red bead of sacrifice.
Let me love my neighbor with your love.
Pearly beads of secrets.
On these three beads, you may tell God the personal, important, or secret things you don't want anyone else to know.
The black bead of darkness.
Out of the depths have I cried unto you, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Do not abandon me.
Silence.
I give away my loneliness. I receive that I am yours.
The white resurrection.
Here is no time. Here is no distance. I have peace in my heart in front of you. Here I want to stay.
And silence.
I give away my loneliness. I receive that I am yours.
And finally, the cross.
We join together in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
A more holistic experience.